Let's go, baby.
Okay, Bruce. We are live. They can actually hear us now, which is good that they haven't been able to for the last couple minutes.
That's true. That's true. I'm sitting there about to take a sip out of the actual can, but
What are you?
I could pour it.
Yeah, just pour it, Bruce. What are you doing?
Hey, real quick,
Yes, real quick.
real quick. Let me turn this down because I don't want that feedback. I would like to congratulate you, sir, on the victory over the Chicago White Sox. I know you're a huge athletics fan, and those of you guys out there
There we
who
go.
don't know this, MJ is actually from California. So he's not just some like jackass that was like, I'm just gonna start liking these guys. No, not at all.
Well, okay. Who would just randomly start liking the A's?
I don't know. You might be a huge fan of Moneyball. You might have seen the movie and been like, shit, I'm gonna start watching this.
The whole point of Moneyball was it was good, but they still couldn't beat the Yankees.
But you're not gonna beat the Yankees this year because the Yankees are out too. So
The Yankees are no, they're not.
they're not out. I thought they were out. I thought I heard somewhere that they were out.
They beat the Indians.
Oh, they did beat the
They
Indians.
advance. Bruce, pay attention, bro. They
I think it-
advanced.
you know
The
what
two
it- you know what
matchups
it
are
is?
Yankees Rays. They're two
Right.
divisional matchups. Yankees Rays, A's Astros.
I had the Rays beating the Yankees in this round, though.
I could see that.
Oh.
Five-game series.
Anyway, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
We all know that I'm not an expert on national baseball. So that being said,
Yeah.
Congratulations, though, buddy.
Thank you very much.
It's good stuff, though. But so let's touch base real quick, though. Guys, welcome to our viewing audience to another Third Down Thursday.
Hello, viewers.
Again, my setup is a little different. You might see a different angle for those that usually view it on a regular basis.
This is Bruce's influencer angle, as he called it.
Yeah, dude, my setup. It's actually kind of funny you say that though, because I had people being like, "Hey, could I actually see see the setup that you have?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "It's legit. Look at this. Got a little mic action going on here.
Oh, yeah.
I got my second monitor that doesn't work because the dongle I have is a piece of crap. So I'm going through this. It is what it is. But yeah, man, we got a decent little setup going
And
here.
we got some nice graphics now. We got the Twitter graphic. Go follow us on Twitter.
Guys,
I
if you guys haven't
believe.
started following us, start following us.
Hold up. I wanna check something real quick, because I think if I'm correct, we are one follower away from 100.
Let's go! We've only been live for a week.
So if you're watching and you're not following Third Down Thursdays on Twitter, first of all, what are you doing with your life? Second of all, go follow us on Twitter. Go subscribe to the YouTube channel, which I also have up here, MJ Hurley Sports, which is where I post all of these. So if you're lazy on Thursday night and don't watch us until Friday morning on your way to work, you can find us there as well. Now that we've done our promotions for the day.
Don't watch the phone or whatever device you're.
Okay, watch, listen, whatever.
Listen, there you go.
There we go. Yeah, I mean, our faces are fantastic, but at the end of the day, it's our voices that you really want to hear.
I have a face for radio.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I have the hair for radio.
Ooh. Anyway.
Anyway.
Let's go down. So tonight, MJ, please, I would like you to introduce our guest this evening. That will be joining us in, 20 minutes?
Yeah, 25 minutes? Yeah.
Yes.
So at 7 o'clock, we are going to have Rob Schaefer, who now, I guess, as Bruce would like to say, is a friend of the show. This will be... No, I'm making fun of you, Bruce. This will be Rob's second time on the show. We were going to have Rob on last week, but they rescheduled. No. We're going to be nice to Rob until he comes on the show. Then we'll roast him.
I'm not saying he was a jackass. I was calling you the jackass.
I'm just stating the fact. Rob was supposed to be on the show, and I was going to explain the circumstances. There were press conferences rescheduled. Rob is a big hotshot beat writer guy for NBC Sports, so he had to go do his duty. We don't pay Rob for coming on the show, so between his paying job and us, he picks the paying job. So
have you guys seen the backgrounds that we have here? This is my house. That's his dorm.
This is my dorm room. Bruce, I would love... I know you discussed that one thing about us actually doing a show in person, but I would love to do a show with you in person and just roast the hell out of you in person.
Dude, the entire time. Be great. We could probably, dude, it'd be pretty. We could probably set it up down here in my man cave.
Yeah, but you're also 2.5 hours away from me, and I'm not allowed to leave.
I'm sure as hell not driving down there. But anyways, that's our Rob is our guest. We're going to be talking to him a lot about the hiring of Billy Donovan, and the Chicago Bulls started their camp or their little mini camp, I guess.
Yeah.
I think last week.
All the loser teams did last week. Yeah.
All the loser teams. Well played.
Including the Warriors, except they won't be a loser this year, so it's fine. Giannis.
Shut up. Anyway, we're going to talk to him about Billy Donovan. We're going to talk to him about the potential that they see in this roster, and with the recent letting go of Doc Rivers in LA and him signing to the 76ers earlier this evening. I'm curious to know, from his opinion, did the Chicago Bulls pull the trigger too soon?
And do you know who's going to be Doc Rivers' assistant coach in Philadelphia as of like 2 minutes ago?
I did not see that.
Alvin Gentry.
Very good defensive-minded coach. A very good coach, period. Interesting.
I like that. Yeah.
Interesting. They need it. The 76ers need it.
They really do.
I think Joel Embiid will flourish under those two. But I'm curious to talk to Rob about that.
Yeah.
So we got a packed show. What time we got? Let's jump right into this.
We got another Victory Thursday for both of our teams.
Victory Thursday. Hey, there's a movie that's out there, Pirates of the Caribbean, where someone makes fun of Captain Jack Sparrow. They say, "You are a joke of a captain." And what does Jack Sparrow say? And obviously I'm paraphrasing. And what does Mr. Jack Sparrow say? Yes, but I'm a captain. It's the same thing with the Chicago Bears. You are the worst 3-0 team in the NFL. Yes, but I'm 3-0.
So Bruce, I need you to sit there, and I need you to listen to me. Okay? Because what it's tough. It's tough for me too to listen to myself, but it's okay. So you have spent the last, how long have we been doing this show? 5 months now, almost. You've spent 5 months now saying Mitchell Trubisky, Nick Foles Gold, going off.
I did.
The night and day difference.
Correct.
I'm talking going from hell to heaven, going from the North Pole to the South Pole, of Mitchell Trubisky leading that joke of an offense to Nick Foles in that second half. Now
he should have 5 touchdowns in the fourth quarter.
He should have. He had 3 touchdowns in 4.5 minutes.
Right.
So
Go ahead. Continue.
I'm not gonna go on the record and say that this is Nick Foles is the savior. However, I'm going to say I told you so, that Nick Foles looks better in that offense than Mitchell Trubisky did.
I will not disagree. That being said, I was actually going to talk to you about this too, about potentially making a Fool's Gold meter. So obviously, Fool's Gold would be here, and that was my opinion of him. And then since I saw him, it's suddenly gone up to here. And if it goes all the way to here, that's pure gold. That's 14 karat. Let's freaking go. Get that.
That's a gold rush. Yep.
Big little tooth thing going in here and everything like that. Little bling. But no, man, I'm gonna tell you right now. So the moment that watching that game. Okay, so stats aside, the moment in that game where I thought to myself, shit. I really liked Mitch. Obviously, everyone knows that. Yeah. You know that. The people that have watched the show know that. I've really enjoyed watching him. Not watching him, I guess, but like trying to develop, seeing that the Bears would have a future in at that position. Yeah. I think he's a professional. I think he works his tail off. I think he says and does the right things. However, he just didn't do it on the field. So that being said, when I saw and heard what he did on Sunday, seeing the throw that he made when he got drilled, after he made the throw, making the post pass to Anthony Miller, when he said, dude, if they are in a, I think it's a cover 0 blitz, action, and I'm probably gonna be wrong, and people are gonna be like, he's an idiot, but that's cool too. Um, but as soon as he saw, he's like, hey, run to the L, and he threw a beautiful post pass, and he got drilled on it. And I go to my buddy, I turned Tuna, another shout out, buddy. I'm like, dude, he's legit. He's legit. That's a legit NFL quarterback. And I will say it right now. I am wrong. I was wrong. Mitch, I still love Mitch, but there could be a chance with Fool's Gold's injury history.
Yeah.
That we see Mitchell Trubisky back under center for the Chicago Bears. However, I don't think it's a coincidence that it came in week 3, because if you remember in our previous show, I did talk about saying, is there a chance that they didn't choose Foles as the starting quarterback this year because they wanted to kind of bring him along more so in the offense and have him have an understanding more of the offense? So I'm kind of curious. I really wish we could have had JJ on today, because I would ask him that question.
Yeah.
But because obviously Mitchell has been in this offense for 3 years now. This is 2 full years, and this is his 3rd year. I'm curious though, right? Yeah. Is it 4 years now? 4 years now. You're right, man, dude. Numbers, I'm terrible.
It's okay.
But yeah, no. I'm curious to know. I'm curious if they made that decision finally because I've seen enough, and Nick Foles is ready.
I really do think so. So the problem is that when you get lit up by the Falcons like that on defense,
True.
That's what scares me. And because the Bears just looked bad. And my worry is that the adrenaline of Nick Foles coming in, granted he looked really bad on the first possession, after that,
he had to get rid of the visor, dude. As soon as he got rid of the visor,
wait, was that really what it was? Did he get rid of? No, I didn't see that.
I don't know. I was just joking, but
but
I don't know if you noticed, but on the first drive, he had a visor.
Yeah.
And after the second drive, he actually went to the equipment manager and got it taken off, and he was fine.
Interesting. Well, maybe that did have an impact. I don't know, but my worry is that some of that comes from the adrenaline of bringing Nick Foles in, and I don't know how much that will carry over week to week. Watching the Colts in the first 3 weeks, I would be scared. I don't think the Bears...
They're the number 1 defense in the NFL.
Right. And I don't think... I just don't think the Bears' offense matches up to that. And the Colts have a good offense, too. They have a really good running game. So...
Great running game. That rookie, I can't remember his name off the top
Jonathan
of my head.
Taylor.
Yes, thank you. Taylor. That rookie is a stud. I think he's going to be
And they have Naheem Hines, who's a really good pass catcher out of the backfield. And then they have T.Y. Hilton and Michael Pittman Jr.
Oh, yeah.
And so, Jalen Johnson and Kyle Fuller have been doing really well. The problem is everybody else in that secondary.
So the Chicago Bears have allowed 4.9 yards per carry.
Okay.
Per carry. So 5 yards per carry.
Yeah.
It's not good.
It's not.
And again, I'm more concerned right now about that defense than I am about, and it sounds so weird, than that offense right now. But you never know. It's first live hitting. It's only the 3rd game. This is the official 3rd game of the preseason, and
right.
But we'll see. And we'll go from there. We'll do a little prediction before we get Rob on, so that way we can.
I have a live question from Twitter. One of my close friends from my best friend's older brother.
You should have just left it at a live question from Twitter because it makes it sound.
Whatever. Whatever. No, but he has his own podcast. He does very well for himself.
Fair.
So Kyle asked me, MJ, what's the latest on Adams? I feel like this injury, and he's replying to a tweet that says Allen Lazard underwent core muscle surgery this week and is out indefinitely, which is news from 3 minutes ago from Schefter. And it says, I feel like this injury doesn't impact the Packers. If Adams is back, will you discuss this on Third Down Thursdays? So, we will discuss this. So, I did not know this. That kind of freaks me out. However, Adams practiced fully today. He was a full participant in practice. I saw the little tape that is allowed to get out. He looked great. That shouldn't be a problem. However, if you watched that game against the Saints on Sunday, Allen Lazard... So what happened was MVS got the Devontae Adams treatment from the Saints. He got Lattimore. He got doubled most of the time. They said, we're going to make Lazard and the tight ends beat them, and they did. Right. So my worry is Rodgers has a lot more confidence in Lazard right now than he does in MVS. That does kind of scare me a little bit. I will be honest.
I love how we dropped this knowledge on you right away, just randomly.
I don't love that. I think so. The nice thing is, I'm not worried about the Packers against the Falcons this week. At home, we've seen the Falcons' track record. I'm not concerned whatsoever. Then the Packers have a bye week.
Have you seen the Falcons? Have you seen the Falcons injury list?
No. Is it bad?
It's insane. It's even longer than what it was against the Bears.
Really?
So Ridley is actually now on that injury list.
Oh no! What happened to Ridley?
I didn't actually look into it significantly. However, I did see that he was on that list along with Julio, along with like a lot of the same guys that were on that list for the Bears.
Yeah.
So, I'm telling you, man, the Packers don't have anything to worry about.
No.
At all. But it would be. I would love to see an upset.
Nah, get out of here.
What's the line in that game? What we got? Hold on, we gotta check that line.
Yeah, you're right. Bruce, this is another opportunity we have to talk. Downloaded FanDuel on Saturday.
Oh, listen to this guy.
I had a very nice day on Monday. I did the you pick like 5 players for one game.
Right.
You set your star and then your pro, which is like 1.2 times the amount of points, and then 3 utility. So I went big brain. I chose Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson. So even though their salaries are both very high, I used those two.
That's fine.
I got McCole Hardman for a ridiculously low rate, and he had like 80 yards, 6 catches, and a touchdown. I don't know why he was so cheap. He was my 5th pick.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
So I won first place in all 3 contests I did.
I heard you won a few nickels, huh?
Well, yeah, compared to Mr. Bruce, who bets more.
I win pennies, bro. I win pennies.
Yeah, okay. Are you looking up the Packers?
Yeah. Real quick. So in the toilet bowl that's being played in a little bit.
Yes.
The line actually opened up at Broncos -2.5. From the last I looked, it was favoring the Jets -1. The Jets might be the worst team.
They don't even. They don't even get their home field advantage.
It's so bad, dude.
Oh my gosh! Right, no, the Packers.
So keep in mind. So these are all opening. So the Bears Colts game this weekend. It opened at Colts -2.5.
I think that's fair.
That's not. I'm cool with that. Wow, this person's a jackass.
I would take the Colts on that.
I'm not gonna say who it's from, but someone predicted that final score to be 24-3.
Oh, I don't care which way you're predicting that. That is a bad idea.
Yeah, I don't think about
that's wow.
All right, so to continue what we were saying, Falcons, Packers. Wow, Packers are the opening
7.5.
Packers -7. Well, no, it was open at -7. What is it at right now?
7.5.
7.5 right now.
Yeah, the over/under is 58. They're really taking into account the Packers averaging 41 points.
This dude's picking an upset. Falcons 42, Packers 38. I'm not saying where I'm getting that info from, but woo-hoo-hoo. Keep in mind, though, I'm sure that pick, since the line, that was when the line opened, so it was probably like Monday when you don't know what, or the injuries yet.
Yeah. Because, right now it's... when the Packers are playing, I'm still hesitant to take an under right now.
No, I wouldn't.
Until they don't put up 37 points.
I would take the over in this game, especially considering the fact that the Falcons' defense is a sieve, and the fact that the Packers have the most efficient. And I'm going to say, I can't remember where I got that graph from. I tweeted it out. I don't know if you saw it, but the graph that was shown, the Packers have the most efficient run pass offense in the NFL.
Yeah.
And actually, what's funny is the Chicago Bears are ranked like third on that.
Yeah,
same
I see it. Yeah, early down rushing and passing offensive efficiency.
Yeah, it was the first and second down. That's what it was. Yes.
Yeah. But no, the Packers have the best run blocking and best pass blocking team in the NFL, and we have not had
fourth. I saw that too.
Yeah, and the Packers have not had the same offensive line combination for more than 2 quarters in a row the entire season so far.
That will affect them at some point, I think.
If it was going to affect them, it would have already affected them.
Who have they played?
They played the Vikings, who have the really good pass rusher, who I can't pronounce his name. Lions, but the Saints, if they really wanted to, Cam Jordan would have destroyed them if it was really going to affect them.
Fair.
But, I mean, they have the best left side in the NFL right now.
Left side. Strong
side. There we go.
That a boy. Good stuff.
I know. Okay, so another live thing coming at me is I see during the A's press conference, closer Liam Hendricks is asked about playing the Astros, and he says, and I quote, "We want to stick it to them as much as we can and show them who the top team really is in the AL West."
Wow. So, shout out real quick to Jason. Hey, man, they're coming for you, dude. The A's are coming for that team, bro.
Yup. That will be it. I'm calling it right now. That series is not going to 5 games.
Really?
No.
Who are you seeing?
The A's.
A's?
Easy.
A's in what?
I'm A's in 4 at worst. I've seen in the last 2 games against the White Sox what happens when the A's play pissed off, and it's not good. It's not good for the rest of the American League. Now, when they get, I think I would love to see, just for the payroll purposes, A's Rays. Like,
it's going to be like the no-watch game. No-watch series. No one's going to, like, nationally, no one wants to see that.
But no, I mean, the only thing that they really want to see is Dodgers-Yankees.
Correct.
Yeah, so, I don't know. I would love, the series I want is A's-Padres.
Oh.
That's the World Series that I think would provide the most entertainment. In the beginning of the... What do you mean?
Who did you pick in the beginning of the season?
Yankees-Dodgers.
Okay, who did I pick? I picked Dodgers, Rays, I think.
I think so.
Oh. Yeah.
I don't know. No, I'm not talking about...
I gotta watch that episode again.
I'm not talking about who I think will make it. I'm talking about who I want to make it.
Fair.
There's a difference.
I want the Cubs to make it. So, but that doesn't mean it's going to happen.
That's tough, because y'all are either getting rained out, or I don't even know what's going on.
The problem with the Cubs is the fact that they can't score for shit.
True. That was also the problem for the Reds. Rest in peace, Reds. That was
a 13-inning game.
That was the most boring thing. That game shows it may not prove specifically, but it shows why Major League Baseball wanted that runner on second rule.
That's fair. But like, to be honest with you, old school, like I enjoy that.
Oh, I do too, but the general audience does not.
But okay, wait.
Ooh. There we go.
Let's go.
There we go. Bruce, you want to know how many viewers we have right now?
2.
We got 10 live viewers.
Ooh. Hey guys, how you doing?
We got a nice squad going on right now.
Oh, I shouldn't be showing what I'm drinking, right? Because we're not like. Whatever.
No, I think we're technically 4 mature audiences. I don't know.
My bad. I'm drinking
no idea.
juice.
Yeah, he put apple juice.
Juice action.
He put apple juice in his Uncle Jimmy's Coors Light can.
But no, we should be joined shortly, guys, by Rob. We're going to be talking to him about the Chicago Bulls and what his thoughts are currently on the Philadelphia 76ers hiring Doc Rivers.
And where's Giannis gonna go? I'm not gonna make any of my predictions. I just want to ask him what he thinks.
Okay.
Bro, it's in his division.
Bro.
I'm
not saying he's gonna go to Chicago. I wasn't saying that at all. I actually think he's gonna stay in Milwaukee. I do.
For his whole career?
No. No. He'll probably sign like a 5-year deal or something like that. There.
Yeah.
By the way, what I think is hilarious also, this is completely off the topic, and I just thought of it for whatever reason, but Paul George getting laughed at by his teammates.
When he was like, run it back, and they're like, no.
Yeah, he was trying to have like an inspiring moment for the LA Clippers. That's like Michael Olowokandi. Yes, a Michael Olowokandi talk. Trying to say, I'm the number 1 pick for the LA Clippers back in 2002, I want to say 2003.
Yeah.
And I'm going to let you know that, hey, let's run that back again. And they're like, hell no, we ain't running that back again. You really don't view him as a guy to do something like that. I think it would have spoke more if Kawhi said it.
But that's not Kawhi's personality.
Right. No.
If anyone was gonna say it, it would be Pat Bev.
Pat Bev, I agree.
But even Pat Bev was laughing at Paul George.
Even then, I don't think he has the significant star status to make his teammates be like, damn, yeah, let's go. You know?
No, but he has the leadership. There's a difference.
No, true, and then obviously no disrespect to him, but...
No, but I'll disrespect Paul George all day. I don't think he's...
disrespect Paul George. Hey, we're trying to do something with this little shindig that we got going on here, so it'd be
Have you seen some of the crap that people say on national shindigs?
That's fair, but I also don't want to turn into freaking Skip Bayless and say some stupid bullshit.
No, let's be clear. Paul George is an extremely talented basketball player. Don't get me wrong, but when it comes to winning an NBA championship, he's not a number 2.
Oh, okay. Well, if we're gonna make that argument, I agree with you. I was gonna say, but would you want Paul George on your team on the Warriors?
No.
What?
No.
If he came to the Warriors, you would be like, I don't want him.
Yes. In the playoffs, he takes the ball in bad situations and takes bad shots.
Yeah, but I also think that's the offense that they're running, because a lot of the stuff that they were running with the Clippers this past series, it was very ISO.
Right, because Kawhi should be taking those shots, not Paul George.
I don't know. I don't like it because it's very you can make a defensive adjustment to offenses like that. Whereas I think with the Warriors, their offense is predicated on ball movement.
Right.
And I think that would help. Although the year with Kevin Durant, it was a little.
Okay, but Kevin Durant is not. Or Paul George is not Kevin Durant.
Paul George isn't Kevin Durant, and I agree with that too.
Yeah.
So using what you just said, though, Paul George is not a number 2. Correct. No. He's not a number 2. That said, if he were to go and obviously this would be years from now because I think he's in a 5-year contract with a 5th year team.
If he doesn't get traded after this season.
Right, you never know. But so that said, I do think that he'd be the 3rd or 4th option on that team.
On the Warriors?
Yeah. So I actually do think that would be a significant upgrade to that lineup.
I mean, if they could somehow spin sending Draymond away and getting Paul George, I wouldn't complain. By
the way, I don't like Draymond that much.
Bruce, you said that a lot. Okay, Rob's here. We're going to stop BSing and go actually talk about basketball.
We're not going to talk any more Warriors talk? Come on.
No, I want to, but
Rob probably knows Nick Friedel, so.
Rob probably knows more than we do.
Oh, 100%.
What's up, guys?
Hey, Rob, how you doing?
Good. How are you guys?
We're good. Just, I don't even know what was going on before you came in here.
We were just talking basketball, and we got on the topic of the Warriors because MJ loves the Warriors. And We were talking about Paul George choking in the playoffs and how his team laughed at him for.
Oh, that's always fun.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah, you know. But so what's new in Chicago Bulls world?
Oh man, what isn't new? When's the last time we talked? Sometime in July.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think Jim. Oh yeah, so that was before Jim Boylan was fired. So that was It still feels fresh. I mean, it was 2 months ago at this point.
Sure.
But that's a big move. Obviously, he's been replaced by Billy Donovan. I think that's a move that you have to feel good about if you're a Bulls fan. So that's new. There have been a couple other. They hired a new head athletic trainer, Todd Campbell. They continue to shuffle around the front office. They're taking part in these voluntary group workouts at the Advocate Center, so the players are actually playing again. People are in the same building. You got to be careful with off-season good vibes, but everything around the team has been positive. All the comments have been positive.
Agree.
Kind of ironic that like a year ago this time, they were guaranteeing playoff berths, and everybody thought this team was going to take a massive step forward. And now we're kind of still in the middle of that season. But yeah, I mean, it's all good. It's all positive momentum at least, even if it's not actualized yet, right?
Agree. So Rob, I'm going to go out on that limb and ask the question first. Since the Billy Donovan hire, Doc Rivers, obviously was let go.
Yeah.
So do you think there's any kind of regret in hiring Billy Donovan and not waiting a little bit of time after the playoffs were done, or anything like that, to see who you can get? So basically, is Billy Donovan a better hire than Doc Rivers would have been?
I think for the Bulls, yes, and I'm not even trying to cover for them for making the decision too quickly.
Mhm.
I just think when you talk about a culture program builder and being willing to kind of accept the partnership with the front office, and do things kind of humbly from the ground up. And I love Doc Rivers. I'm from the East Coast. I grew up a Celtics fan. I love Doc Rivers. I'm glad he landed on his feet in Philly. I actually think that Philly job, along with Houston, are probably the two best fits for him, although I know that there are some in Philly that probably aren't too excited about it because the front office overhaul hasn't totally happened. But I think with how quickly Philly moved on Doc, that just seems to me like that was a premeditated match made in heaven right there. I'm not even sure how much the Bulls get in the door with the Doc Rivers. And even if they did, at this stage in his career, he's coach as opposed to a program building coach in the way that Billy Donovan is. Not to steal, from college basketball verbiage, but that's obviously where he cut his teeth and had a ton of success at Florida. So I still think, even with the Doc Rivers thing, and there is a moment where you're like, oh man, Chicago native, championship caliber coach. No one could blame anybody for thinking, oh man, what could have been. But I still think the Bulls at the time, and even in retrospect, made the best hire for them. Although it is worthy of noting, though, that Doc Rivers is the only championship caliber coach other than Ty Lue, by the dictionary definition of it, owning a championship.
Right.
That hit the market throughout this offseason. I still think the Bulls just can't be mad about the position they were in, especially because Billy Donovan is just such a good player development coach. That's something that he's proven, and that's the biggest need facing the organization. So hard to be too mad.
Rob, give me a couple guys. Like you said, Billy Donovan is kind of renowned for his player development. Give me a couple guys that are examples of that. Maybe somebody that could be compared to a younger guy on the Bulls roster right now.
Good question. So I think at Florida, I'm very high on Wendell Carter Jr. I think he stands to gain a ton from Billy Donovan. One, because I think Billy Donovan is just a good coach and will talk to him, and he's already started talking to these guys. I mean, we talked to Larry Markkinen the other day. He said he's already been on the phone with Billy, and Billy's already asking him, hey, where do you like the ball? How do you like to be used on offense? He's already started to build his system, and he's building it in collaboration with his players. I think that's a great sign compared to what the Bulls were last year. So I think he'll communicate with Wendell and get a good sense of kind of what his preferred usage is and what kind of creative ways they can use him. Two comps there that immediately come to mind are Al Horford and Joakim Noah. Obviously, having played under Billy Donovan at Georgia, those are two very versatile defensive big men, good facilitators too. I think one thing that I'm looking for Wendell next year is for him to be put in positions to facilitate a little bit more. I think that'll help the Bulls have the kind of equal opportunity, democratic, ball movement oriented offense that they want to play. So those are two guys I look at there. I look at another example. I think Oklahoma City last year. I think the work that Billy did with their three guards in Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Dennis Schroeder, Chris Paul's obviously at the center of that. I don't know what the direct comparison to a Bull is there. I don't think that any of those comparisons line up as in like a Kobe White to a Shea or Chris. Like that doesn't really work. Zach Levine doesn't either. But I just think that innovation that he was able to get those three to all play well together on the court together. Obviously, Chris Paul's a superstar. Like he's an all-time player, and he's going to be great no matter what context. But for Dennis Schroeder to come in and be a Sixth Man of the Year finalist after his career was kind of looked like it was on life support for a few years there, I think it's tremendous. I think Billy's own experience as a point guard is going to help him with Kobe White, with Zach Levine, who have both said they want to work on their playmaking. Those are two things that they're invested in improving for next year to take the next step. So I think those jump to mind immediately. In terms of other development stories, I mean, there are a ton from the Florida years that you can run down the list of, like the Corey Brewers, the Chandler Parsons, the Jason Williams, who actually transferred from Marshall to Florida to follow Billy Donovan when he made that jump initially.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Wendell, with some of the bigs that he's coached, even Steven Adams is a pretty good passing big man, and they used him at Oklahoma City in some pretty creative ways. I just think Wendell was so misused in the Jim Boylan era that it's hard for there not to be a big jump there. So those are the ones that immediately come to mind in terms of that. I just think his track record indicates that he's going to, at the very least, get player input, which is something that didn't seem to really be happening in Chicago last year. And that can only empower them.
So speaking of the player input aspect of it and being a little bit more friendly with that, can you see any veteran? The Chicago Bulls roster is a very young team. And do you see any veterans that saw this hiring and want to make that move to the Chicago Bulls that might be on the market in the coming year?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know how to forecast the free agency question yet because there's not a ton of flexibility this offseason. It'll be the 2021 free agency period that I think everybody will have their eyes on when guys like Giannis, Anthony Davis, depending on how he handles his player option, and when he tries to get his long-term extension ironed out. Paul George and Kawhi Leonard obviously have options. Like there's a ton of different, moving parts there. I don't know if anybody sees Billy Donovan specifically and is going to, immediately put the Bulls on their whiteboard for next year right now. What I think has to happen, and it's why the player development aspect of his resume is so important, I think the players in the building have to get better immediately. I think if you're a Bulls fan, you got to just be rooting for that 10 to 12 game improvement next year, being in the thick of that playoff race. And if you're think of the 2019 Clippers, think of the 2019 Nets that made those runs to the 6 to 7 seed, were competitive in the playoffs. And then all of a sudden, if you can prove that you can bring people into your building and develop them and maximize them and be a healthy environment for players, that's what's going to get free agents to come. I think the hiring of Arturas, the hiring of Mark Eversley, both have great relationships with players around the league. The hiring of Billy Donovan, who has great relationships with players across the league. But really, what's going to clinch the Billy Donovan factor is if he just makes the Bulls materially better. And if they can prove that they are kind of that team with momentum next season, then you could maybe start thinking of the free agent thing. I don't have any names specifically that I think Donovan will attract, but I think he could really cast a wide net if the Bulls are a 35 to 40 win team next year and a competitive 7 to 8 seed. I'm not willing to predict that, but if it does seem like there are there's a floor, a high floor to how well Billy Donovan teams perform.
Yeah,
they're never in the basement of the league, the way that the Bulls have been the last 3 years. So any marginal level of improvement, I think, puts them in that conversation heading into 2021.
Rob, is there anything about the Billy Donovan hiring that concerns you? Whether that be personality, anything that you've heard. It can't be all sunshine and rainbows. Give us something that concerns.
Never
if there is anything,
now.
Give us something that concerns you.
Never. So I think minor concern would be the critique that he, even though he's made the playoffs all 5 seasons in Oklahoma City, the last 4 were first round exits. obviously I'm not going to hold this year's first-round exit against him. That team was never supposed to be there in the first place. They pushed Houston to 7. That's an accomplishment. But I do think those Russell Westbrook, Paul George teams underachieved. Like, there's no question about that. He's been criticized for, in-game adjustment type deficiencies when the game slows down, when it's, high leverage moments in the playoffs. So I think that's a minor concern. The reason it's a minor concern and not a major concern is, the Bulls have a ways to go before that's even an issue. And I think if we're quibbling over Billy Donovan rotation decisions in the playoffs in 2 years, like in the second round of the playoffs, I think that's a good problem to have if you're the Bulls right now. So I'm not too worried about that. I think down the line, though, if that becomes an issue, that's something that we probably could have seen coming from a ways away. Right now, he's just being brought in to change the culture, and I think that's something he's certainly, proficient at. And then just the other minor concern I would have, maybe this one's a little bit more than minor, but his ability at the NBA level to coach without a domineering kind of superstar presence on the roster. Obviously, he had Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook his first year in Oklahoma City. Then he had Paul George and Russell Westbrook for the next, or he had 1 year where it was just Russ, and then 2 years where it was Paul George and Russ, and then last year Chris Paul. Even though I think that team last year overachieved, and you can credit him for that, you still have a coach on the floor in Chris Paul. You have a strong personality in Chris Paul. The Bulls there are a lot of great dudes on the Bulls, a lot of great professionals. That locker room never fractured on a player-to-player basis, even if there were issues player-to-coach. There isn't that kind of dominating leader on the floor presence that's going to, grab a game by the horns or grab the team by the horns, like on a night-to-night basis.
Yeah.
And kind of drive everything the way that Chris Paul does. So I'm curious how Billy will adjust to that, because he always had that, whether it be Russ or Chris Paul or Kevin Durant. You always had that kind of one player on the team that everyone else could look up to and use as that example. I think Zach Levine would like to be that player. He's got a real chance now, especially if things start to turn around, to prove that he can be that player consistently. He's been it for nights at a time, but it just hasn't been there over the course of a full season. He knows where he has to improve there. Again, defense playmaking, easy. Yeah. He knows that. He said that. So that's a little bit more than a minor concern when I talk about immediate improvements is how much is Billy going to be able to kind of impose a style of play and discipline and being motivated on a night-to-night basis without that superstar presence. So that's a little bit more of a concern. And he's been criticized also for being over lenient with players. The player collaboration thing is a good thing, but there still has to be a firm voice and a place where the buck stops. So all those things, we'll see how it plays out. He's not even at their workouts right now. He's still communicating with them over Zoom. So we're a long way away from that. But those are the things that I'll be watching. Those are the ways that I could see this hire turning south. I'm not sure it's likely, but those are the red flags to me.
Okay.
So talking offensively with them now, with the Billy Donovan hire, they don't have, in my opinion, a true point guard. And with the ball movement oriented offense that Billy Donovan has, what do you foresee with the upcoming draft?
Yeah, I mean, if it was me, all the guys that I'm high on at the top of that draft are either that true point guard type, or at least, playmaking facilitatory guys like a Deni Avdia, the Israeli forward, whose passing is lauded. He's a solid pick and roll playmaker. He's great in transition, making reads and getting teammates involved and things like that. That's the kind of player he is. He's like a fill all the holes, good help defender, like that, a good rebounder, that kind of player. So I think you're right. I mean, I'm high on Kobe White and I'm high on Zach Levine. I think they're high potential, hard-working, great scoring guards. I think both of them know that they are not at this stage playmakers to the level of being able to be the engines of successful offenses night in and night out. Spurts again on a couple game stretch, every once in a while, but really like being able to run an offense for an 82-game season, because we'll be back to an 82-game season at some point.
Right.
So the guys that I'm looking at who would be high on my board would be the LaMelo Balls, the Killian Hayeses, the Tyrese Halliburtons, those kind of smart passing guards that are going to set the table for others. I mean, the Bulls have a ton of guys that are offensive threats, but and this is something that Billy Donovan said, it's just an issue of getting them to play together, to connect all those dots, to be able to put them in positions to succeed. I think a good coach helps there, and a floor general would too. So Killian Hayes, I mean, LaMelo Ball would probably be my top preference. I don't know if he'll get to 4, Killian Hayes is someone that I'm the French guard who played in Germany last year. He's someone that I'm really, really liking the more that I watch of him and the more that I hear from him. We talked to him in combine interviews this week.
Yeah.
Tyrese Halliburton is another just super impressive guy. So those are the three that I'm like, if they left the draft with one of those three, I think it could be a really interesting move for their offense, especially when you consider Billy Donovan's success with 3-guard lineups in Oklahoma City. So those are the three that I'm watching the most closely. If the Bulls do decide to trade back and pick up an asset for the future, I don't think that'd be the worst idea either. And then you can look at a guy like an Isaac Okoro or a Devin Vassell who could just, fill the small forward gap. Because while I think the lead guard, the passing guard, is the biggest skill set deficiency of the roster, the biggest positional need is small forward. I mean, they just didn't have a healthy wing last year, and it was a huge problem, especially if Chris Dunn is gone, which we're not sure of yet, but it looks like he's gone. It looks like there's a chance it's looking like there's a solid chance he could be gone. So, the wing depth was such an issue last year that I think that's something that could be worth addressing too. I just know that Arturas Karnisovas being someone who's a best talent available guy, it seems like the best talents at the top of the draft are those guards. So that's probably where I would be looking.
Rob, from your combine interviews, I don't know, did you speak to LaMelo Ball at all?
Yeah. So, these interviews are like.
I saw some of your stuff on Twitter.
Yeah.
I saw some of your stuff on Twitter, so I'm playing into your hand a little bit here. So go for it.
He's great. He is awesome, man. I mean, we all love that. He basically just one word answered us for 25, 30 minutes. Said that he hadn't. This is potentially the number one pick in the draft. He said no to that he had interviewed with every team in the NBA he was asked about, except for the New York Knicks. And then you find out later that his dad had been kind of pushing the New York, he'd be a great fit with the Knicks. It's just so funny. We all loved it. We thought it was kind of entertaining and almost endearing to watch him. I mean, because it came from a place of confidence. It doesn't affect how I think of him as a prospect. I thought it was entertaining enough. But there was a point too where a Minnesota Timberwolves reporter who owned the number one pick in the draft said, "Hey, have you talked to the Timberwolves?" And he said, "I don't know." I mean, it's just. It's just, there is a little bit of performance art. There's a little bit of theater to LaMelo, which either turns you off or it's attractive. I don't know that I fall in either camp there necessarily. It was just kind of a funny thing to watch him kind of have all of these, kind of nerdy sports reporters in his hand for 30 minutes, and he was just almost toying with us. So I'm someone who can laugh at myself, so I think it's funny. But yeah, so we didn't get much insight. We didn't get much into what he's working on, what he sees the strengths and the weaknesses of his game. We didn't really get insight into where he thinks he might fit best. He said basically, I'm a baller, I'll play anywhere, and I'll contribute to winning, which is, that's actually a good thing to say if you really think about it.
Yeah.
And I agree with him. I do think he has a kind of versatile skill set that could fit anywhere that he goes near the top of the draft. But yeah, that was amusing. It was unlike anything I'd ever seen before. This is the first combine that I've covered. And obviously everything is unprecedented. We're doing these things over Zoom. Nobody knew what Zoom was until 6 months ago.
Right.
But yeah, that was certainly entertaining.
Well, my curiosity with LaMelo is, even just taking the personality aside, the kid's a point guard. I think we all know that, but he's also 6'8", right?
Exactly.
So my thing is, I think LaMelo, in terms of fit, is perfect for the Bulls. I mean, he gets a big market, maybe not the New York that his dad wants, but he's 6'8". If they really want to, they could play Kobe White, Zach Levine, and have LaMelo guard as the 3. His defense isn't there yet, but if they really wanted to work towards that's a lineup they could play.
Yeah, and he's someone I've actually been watching tape of him today. I mean, he's someone that, like any 19-year-old, there's going to be a big adjustment for him when he gets to the NBA.
Yeah,
and the defense is going to be the biggest, I think, pitfall there. You're 100% right. But yeah, that's why Killian, a guy that's 6'5", good positional size. Tyrese Halliburton, I think, is also 6'5". He's somewhere. We still haven't gotten official measurements yet, but he's somewhere in the 6'5" to 6'7" range. These guys, these guards with great positional size like that, are a trend that's emerging in the NBA, as are kind of facilitating bigs and forwards. I mean, you kind of just have to have a versatile skill set to succeed in the NBA these days, especially to be on an Arturas Karnisovas team. That's the team he built in Denver. Look at their leading assist guy is Nikola Jokic. He's a 7-footer.
Who's incredible.
And they've got guys up and down that roster that, fill gaps and do the little things and stuff like that. But I agree with you that the LaMelo size is something that's intriguing because even if he's going to be a little bit of an open faucet defensively from the jump, that length is going to help him off ball, get in passing lanes, kind of be active. He's quick. He's not. He gets a little disengaged sometimes, but he's still quick to get back to closeouts and things like that. So yeah, I mean, the size is a huge part of what makes him intriguing, especially in transition, because that just opens up so many reads for a point guard that you might not have if you're shorter. It's almost like being a quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah.
Like if you're Russell Wilson or Drew Brees, you could be 5'11" or 6 feet and still succeed. But for the most part, you want a guy that can see over the top of the offensive line and things like that. It's the same principle to me.
Yeah.
That's fair. I love the fact that the whole Ball family seems like they went to the school of Ric Flair to be able to. No, but the transition that I want to make, though, is I want to actually hear your thoughts, though, on the Miami Heat and the whole bubble basketball in general. I love what the Heat have been doing. I'm just curious as to what your thoughts are so far on the bubble.
Yeah, the injuries are a bummer for Miami. It looks like this finals just might not be what it should be. With Dragic and Bam both being doubtful for Game 2, that's just a bummer. They've been so big for what they've been doing. I think Miami, the run's been awesome. Heat culture, all those cliches, I'm down with it. Respect the hell out of everything they do. The way that they've turned that team around in the last 3 years from where they were when they were kind of in salary cap hell and didn't really have that lead star and were kind of just like in no man's land, for lack of a better term. And have really flipped this thing on its head with a couple shrewd draft picks and developing some unheralded guys. And you make the move on Jimmy Butler when he becomes available. No better fit for Jimmy, obviously, someone that Bulls fans are very familiar with. I mean, people have bemoaned a little bit the Bulls' lack of, a second effort to build that team around Jimmy. And it is a bummer because I think you could pretty unequivocally say that they lost that trade at this point, considering the pieces that they got back to spark the rebuild just haven't really made any material impact on the future of the franchise yet. Maybe it'll happen next year. But it just hasn't been there to this point. The problem, though, is I just don't know. One, because I don't know if I would trust the Bulls to build the team around him that Miami has and develop the team around him that Miami has. And two, because I just think Jimmy had to go through what he went through, going to Minnesota and that imploding, going to Philly and not seeing eye to eye with Brett Brown and that imploding. I think he's had to go through everything in his career to get to the point that he's in now, where he is able to lead a team to the finals. So I'm happy for him. I'm not too ripped up about it not working out in Chicago because I just don't know that it would have worked out exactly this storybook perfectly. It's a great story. It stinks that it's probably going to end here in 4 or 5 games if these injuries affect everything. But bubble in general, I mean, the play has been fun. Offenses have been flowing. It's been a Hooper's gym. Scottie Pippen compared it to pickup basketball a couple days ago.
I wanted to ask you about that too.
And people got mad at him for that, but he absolutely. I mean, if you read the full context of the quote, he's absolutely right. I mean, he's 100% as a point. No travel, no fans, less media responsibilities. There's just less distractions. Like you can literally just incubate yourself entirely, and it's hoop sleep. Like, so he had a point there. I think that's why the play itself, the quality of play, has been so entertaining. Is that kind of efficiency of it? So I appreciate that. And then the last point I make on the bubble is I just think it's amazing that there have been no positive tests among any players or staff for COVID. I mean, it just shows you kind of when you really concentrate and throw the full weight of a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate behind something, you could really make anything happen. So they've really they've pulled off a really impressive logistical feat. I was on record a bunch before it started as being skeptical and thinking that a positive COVID test was an inevitability. It was a when, not an if.
Yeah.
And, knock on wood, but they might really make it through this whole thing and salvage what could be a really impactful amount of revenue in terms of the league's future moving forward. So, I mean, I can't applaud the league enough for that to this point, unless there's a massive breakout, tomorrow. They've done that incredibly well. And the basketball's been great. I mean, you guys know because you're involved in talking about a bunch of other sports too. It's like a sports tornado right now, like literally every sport.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
I love it. I love it for betting. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if you're allowed to do that, Rob, but it's been.
I actually don't know because I've never been big into sports gambling. I appreciate the culture of it. I love following it, but I've just never personally done it myself.
It's amazing, but at the same time, don't do it. Don't.
Yeah.
I'd be remiss if I didn't ask this question. A lot of the topics that I've had at work with colleagues of mine have been now comparing LeBron James. That's jumping back into the topic and the talk again to Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
So I want to hear your thoughts. We're not comparing. I don't do that. I still, at the end of the day, I still think that Michael Jordan is the best player ever. However, I also think that you can have an appreciation for the greatness that you are seeing right now from a gentleman who is in his 17th,
Yeah.
I want to say,
Yep.
season. I want to hear your thoughts though on LeBron James and what he is currently doing in the NBA.
Yeah. So yeah, my official statement on the GOAT debate has just been, I'm in my mid-20s. I did not get to watch MJ play at his peak in a way like. As a Bulls reporter and as just a basketball junkie, I've watched more old MJ games than the average person, but I still don't really feel qualified to speak fully on his greatness and his accomplishments, things like that. I just know LeBron James is the greatest player I've ever seen, and I would be shocked if anybody claims that throne in my lifetime. But then again, anything could happen. In terms of what he's doing right now, I mean, yeah, it's amazing. And what's even more amazing is he's kind of brought Anthony Davis along under his wing. In the way that he has this postseason, Davis has absolutely met the moment and been phenomenal. I think he's been the Lakers' best player, night in, night out throughout these playoffs, certainly their best scorer. So I think they are really set up for another 2 or 3 years of being right in the thick of title contention. People forget, I mean, this is, LeBron it's his year 17, age 36 season, and he's second in MVP voting. I mean, there's just no indication that he's close to a drop-off yet. So it's not like this
terrifying.
is his last hurrah
It's
at
not
all.
fair. It's not fair.
It's absolutely unbelievable. And yeah, I mean, right now he just looks locked in. We were talking about this, myself and a couple of coworkers the other day, of just the teams that, since that Dallas loss, obviously in the 2011 finals, since that loss, just think of the teams that have beaten him in playoff series. The 2014 Spurs, all-time great team.
Yes.
2015 Warriors, beginning of the dynasty. Then all the Kevin Durant Warriors teams. I mean, that's it. Those are the only teams that have beaten him in playoff series since that Mavericks finals loss. LeBron just doesn't lose to teams that are not all-time great.
True.
If he gets his 4th title, I'll be happy for him because I appreciate the greatness. I love watching it. Every second you watch it, there's something you tell your grandkids about. Always appreciate that. And I do think a 4th title, and if he can do it in really dominating fashion amid these kind of adverse circumstances, I hope that it'll get people to kind of take their foot off the 3-6, not clutch, all those things, because those have always been unfair criticisms. And I think if you're still on that train at this point, you're just kind of willfully being blind to what you're watching. I've loved every second of the LeBron run. I love what I'm seeing out of Anthony Davis. Like I mentioned, I grew up a Celtics fan. I've since, kicked that, but there's still a little bit of that was in you. So, Rondo getting another ring, I mean, that's something that I'll be happy to see.
Yep.
I think Bulls fans in a sick, twisted way will be too.
I'll just let you go with that, Rob. I'll just let you go with that.
Yeah. Yeah. But, no, it's good. It's been fun to watch. And, you just got to be grateful because, like I said, there's no indications he's going to slow down. But in 2 or 3 years, I hope we don't realize that we took him for granted.
Agree.
Absolutely. Yep. Well, Rob, I think that's all we got for you today. We're running out of time this evening. Thank you very much, as always, for coming on the show. We appreciate your Bulls expertise, joking around with us. Fun as always.
For sure. Yeah, always love coming on. Be well, guys, and let me know when we do it again.
Hey, Rob, real quick, though, before you leave on us, since now you are, and this is my thing. This is
all Bruce.
Thing. This is your second time on our little mom and pop thing we got going here. We actually have merch now.
Oh shit! Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
So that said,
I was like, okay.
Would it be okay if we'll do it off air? We'll do it. I'll send you a direct message or whatever. Would it be cool if I can get an address, like your work address, or something like that, and send you one?
100%. Yeah, jump in my DMs. I'm always looking for more merch. That's great.
Let's go, sir. And
Perfect.
then,
And I know it's not going to be popular in Chicago, but MJ, I see you with the A's jersey on.
Oh, yes.
My roommate's actually a
Yeah,
diehard A's fan, so we were watching that. Looks like the best team won there. I was obviously pulling for the Sox. I've really gotten on the Sox bandwagon this year. They've been awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, congrats on that. I even hopefully no Chicago people see this and get mad at me for doing that. I've always had respect for the A's, so congrats for that.
Thank you very much. I was very nervous for a while, but we pulled it out. We did okay.
Dude, I've never watched such an excruciating baseball game. I was like, thank God I'm not actually a diehard fan of either of these teams because this is pain. Like this is just painful.
At one point I just laid down on my floor and I'm like, I just need to not watch for a couple innings.
Yeah.
I had a buddy text me saying that he's a Sox fan, and he's like, I'm not watching the top of the ninth. I took my dog for a walk.
Yeah.
I don't blame him. And
Yep.
I'm going to say right now, Renteria does not manage for the Chicago White Sox next year.
That's a brutal. I mean, it's a brutal showing. I mean, when you've got and Crochet. I mean, if Crochet doesn't get hurt, I mean, maybe it's a different game. I think he could have given them 9 or 10 outs easily. He was humming. He was pretty much the only pitcher they had that was humming all game. But when you have him up after the first batter of the game, I mean, you just know. What do you do? You just don't have a plan to get through 9 innings.
Yeah, the A's had a plan. They had a pretty clear plan. Ride fires, and they went to Montauk. Like, they knew what they were doing. Pettit to get out of the jam. Like, they knew what they were doing.
And the A's pitching only gets better as the game goes on.
Which is
I
terrifying.
can't really necessarily say that about the Sox. I mean, the hope for the Sox is, this was just the groundwork. This was the groundwork year.
2015.
2015 Cubs.
2015.
Yep.
Exactly. Well, didn't the Cubs make the NLCS that year?
They went far, yes.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. So
but hey, I'm trying to
COVID, weird year. We're trying to give them as much grace as we can here.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to hammer anybody for weird production this year. It's especially in baseball with all the suspensions, and it's a third of the season, and all the it's too much to take anything meaningful away.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, Rob.
Thanks, Rob. I appreciate it.
We'll catch you later.
I'll hit you up earlier.
Yeah, for sure. I'll be on the lookout for it. Appreciate you guys.
Sounds good. Talk to you later, Rob.
See ya.
Who says earlier? What the hell was that?
I don't know, Bruce. You're going insane.
I'm gonna have another one.
Yeah, the answer is more, Bruce. The answer is more.
Hey, I'm at home. I can just go upstairs and just flop on my bed. My fiance's home now, so
True.
I'm good. Shout out
True.
to Celine Hall. She's amazing.
She's fantastic.
But anyways, MJ, I think. We gotta do our predictions real quick. Packers Falcons. What you got?
I'm gonna go 31-13.
Packers, obviously. Oh God, I don't want to do it.
Do it.
I'm gonna go. God, I'm gonna go. Bears. I'm gonna go Bears. I'm gonna go Bears 20. Colts 24. I did it. Hey,
Bruce, I would like to congratulate you on not being a biased piece of crap.
Well, thank you.
Congratulations.
Anyways,
and also Celine commented.
Yes,
she goes, "Yes, I am." And shout out to Paige. I don't know if she's actually watching. She's her username's in the chat, but I know she's at work right now. But she's had it pulled up the entire time. So very supportive people in our lives. We've had great numbers this week. I'm excited to see the actual numbers at the end of the show. Keep supporting.
Quick, I got some more merch coming out. BG, you know who you are. You got an exclusive coming to you, and yes, I'm sorry, I had to give it the guy one. He's got a blue one. It's pretty sick. I'm not gonna lie. He's coming at him. He's the first one to ever have it, only one to ever have it.
I like it.
We got merch coming, sending out tomorrow, guys. So be on the lookout for it.
Yep.
MJ, you'll get yours, rock yours next week, and we'll be good to go. Let's go.
Sounds good.
Keep following us. You see it live right now. See if I can do it like this. Right above me.
That's the Twitter.
Right
yep.
above me. That's the Twitter handle right there. Boom. Over here,
YouTube.
MJ, bam. Follow
YouTube.
that bad boy right there.
Yes, sir.
Keep following us. Have fun. MJ, thank you for a great show again.
Absolutely. We will talk to everybody next week.
Cheers.